What's going on, guys? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes, and I wanted to share with you guys today something that I learned. Now, we know with Bitcoin, there'll only ever be 21 million that'll ever be mined. But how does that work? Is it so much that something's written in the code that says once we hit 21 million, we're just going to shut everything off? And that's actually not the case. So this I actually got from Andreas, and I'll put a description or a link to the video, or I think it was an audio in the description. Very very well laid out. Because here's the thing. That's really what the basis is on, right? That Bitcoin is so valuable because of its scarcity. The fact that there are only 21 million is really what dictates the scarcity, the value. And that's not the only thing, but that's a pretty big portion of it, right? If it was infinity or infinite amount, it would obviously be less valuable. So how does it work? How is it that there will only ever be 21 million? And this is how it does actually happen. So there's no specific code that says once we hit 21 million, everything shuts off. It's actually written in that the supply is reduced over time. And you'll hear things like the halvening, things like that. So every 4 years, the amount that is able to be mined is half of what it was 4 years prior. So the way to really think about it is if you're driving, and Andreas really laid this out nicely, is if you're driving and you start to apply the brake, and from point A to point B, before you get to point B, let's say halfway there, you start to apply the brake. All right. So you're applying the brake little bit by little bit by little bit, and it's getting more. You're getting stronger on that brake as you go. So there's nothing. You're not putting the foot back on the accelerator. You're just keeping it on the brake, and you're pressing that brake harder and harder as you go. Well, at some point in time, even if you take your foot off of the brake, the car will come to a stop. And so that's exactly how it works with the entire Bitcoin mining, is that the supply is continually reduced over a 4-year span until the point that there is no more to actually release out into, or at least be mined out. So, and that works out to that 21 million mark. Okay, so there's no hard rule or hard coding in there that's going to say, if 21 million mined, everything shuts down, no more mining. It's really about applying the brake to the mechanism so that eventually we're going to get to a complete stop, and that stop point will be 21 million. So I'm going to put a description or a link into the description for the actual audio, and I think it's very important to hear what he says. I learned something. It's great to hear it, explained the way that he did explain it. Very, very interesting of how it works, and just another layer of understanding, right? It's one thing to say there'll only be over 21 million, but somebody could come out and say, well, what if you have more than 21 million? And he really laid it out that, hey, if that is the case, if there's a hard fork, meaning there's a split, and something else called Bitcoin something is created, that'll never be true Bitcoin. It'll always be this particular one where it stops at 21 million. So very, very interesting. Make sure you guys listen to it. Really puts things into perspective and in a simple way. Very easy to understand. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next one.